Long-winded story, but that's my last 15 years as a musician in a nutshell.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's a great story, man. That's a
yeah, yeah,
really, really great story, man.
yeah.
And of course, I know that went into the Cavalera brothers, and
Yep.
like how was that?
I got goosebumps just now
Oh, really?
because truly, like, this one hits deep for me because Sepultura was one of my like I liked stuff like Rage, I liked the Chili Peppers, I liked
Yeah.
Metallica and bands like that, and I was getting into it. My buddy, the same day that I learned who Pantera was, I learned who Sepultura was,
Yeah.
and my life changed after that. My buddy Brad actually was like, we were about to go to Ozfest, and we skipped school and I like stayed the night at his house, and he had like bunk beds, so we were watching like he had like a bunch of music videos and stuff, and he had Pantera home videos, and he was
Oh,
like, "Do you
yeah.
know about Pantera?" And I was like, "No," and he was like, "You're about to learn."
Yeah.
So he put on home videos, and he was like, "You like Jackass and like you like heavy metal, like this is that together."
Yeah.
So I saw
Yeah.
home videos and I was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible!" And then like we
Yeah.
ordered some pizza or whatever. And then after that, we watched the home videos. We stayed up like all night, and he was like, "Oh man, yeah, Pantera, that's super cool." And I was like, "Yeah, Pantera's so sick." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, what about Sepultura? Have you heard about Sepultura?" And I was like, "Nope." And he was like, "All right, well." And then there
Mm.
was like a DVD. What was that called? Of them performing. I forget what it was called right now. I'm having a brain fart, but there was like a Under Siege. Under
Oh,
Siege by
okay.
Sepultura. It was like
Yeah.
a live performance of them,
Yeah.
and I saw that, and I was like, my 16-year-old brain was just blown that
Yeah.
day. I learned Pantera and Sepultura, both
Wow.
brother bands,
Yeah.
and he was like kind of obsessed with that. And he was a drummer as well. Like a lot of my best friends are drummers. I don't know why that is.
Hey,
Got
man.
it pretty
Hey.
cool, I
Oh.
guess. So yeah, he taught me all that stuff, and
Oh.
so I fell in love with the record Arise. And
Oh, man.
the next day, I called my record shop and I was like, "Do you have this album Arise?" And they were like, "No, we can order it for you." And I was like, I swear to every day I called them and I was like, "Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here
Right.
yet?" And they were like, "No, no, no." Finally, they were like, "It's here." So I rode my bike to the record store and I bought Arise by Sepultura
Oh.
on a CD. And yeah, that was a super important record for me. That's when I think I kicked my metal world. That was it. That was like the
Mm.
switching of gears. Like I'm a metal guy now. I love
Yeah.
Pantera. I love Sepultura, and then I
Yeah.
started just going into the from there.
Yeah.
So to be able to play with the brothers that wrote that stuff and those videos that I saw was so incredible. And also, even to make it even deeper, they recorded Arise and Beneath the Remains, well, with the same producer, but they recorded Arise with Scott Burns in
Mm.
Tampa at Morrisound Studios.
Oh
So
my
me being a
gosh.
Tampa boy
Yeah.
and loving Sepultura and those being like the seminal albums for me, like to get the opportunity to play those albums with those guys, like I had to bring my A game, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting the chance to play the albums that changed my life with the guys that wrote them. The tours were incredible. The first tour we did with Cavalera, the Cavalera Project, was in Russia. Actually, we did almost 3 weeks in Russia with the
Yeah.
Cavalera Beneath the Remains Arise project, and yeah, we slept on a train for a few days, and we went to all these Russian cities that I can't even pronounce the name of. We were there for a long time. We were
Wow.
there for a long time,
Yeah.
and the most extensive tour or time I ever spent in Russia, and that's when we started. So that went so well, we ended up making it a whole world tour out of it. We did Australia, we did South America a few times. North America finally was the last market to get it. I think we did some in Europe as well. It was a whole world tour we did from Beneath the Remains and Arise, and then we later on COVID hit in the middle of
Oh
all that.
man. Oh.
And at one point, I was doing three bands at once. I was doing this album right here called Gift for the Obsessed by The Absence. I was playing in
Okay.
Absence still.
Yeah.
Was doing that album. I was playing in Soulfly, and we were just released an album called Ritual that was produced and mixed and mastered by Josh Wilbur. We recorded that out here in LA in Orange County. And then also touring Beneath the Remains Arise from Sepultura with the Cavalera project. Dude. And at one point, I think it was 2018, the busiest year of my life, I did a tour. I did 3 tours with all 3 bands, 3 different continents in less than 30 days.
Holy crap.
So I started with the Absence, and we did North America with the Absence, and I had to leave the tour early in Canada, in Toronto. I flew home and flew my buddy out, Jesse Jolly, to replace me and finish out the tour. Right. I flew home for less than 24 hours, repacked my bags, flew to Guadalajara, and did South America with Cavalera for the first time, which was insane. Then after that tour, and then I flew home for another 24 hours, and then I flew out to Europe to do a festival run with Soulfly. And the first show was like in Poland with Slipknot and In Flames, this big festival in an arena. So, and that was all within 30 days. That was the most insane month of my life.
Dude. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, man. Wow. Wow, Mike.
I just grew another gray hair telling that story. That was a hell of like heavy time.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, long story short, playing with the brothers was really incredible. You know, I'm very thankful to have been part of that, to play Beneath the Remains and Arise as a Tampa native, and those albums that were formed, you know, by another Tampa native in Tampa. Yeah. So yeah, that's a really cool, it was an incredible part of my career for sure.
Are you a primary writer of any of the bands that you've been in a part of?
I've done the most writing in The Absence for the 2 albums that I have above me. For Coffinize, the one that was a record that we put out in COVID, 2020, that was released. I got to write a bit right there. I always write my own bass parts unless I'm hired as a session person and somebody has like an idea that they want to do. But I'm always giving, like they'll have like a foundation, and everybody that I've always worked with be like, I want it, you know, these are the parameters, but feel free to like add and subtract here and there as long as we stay within like this like realm. Yeah. So yeah, I've got to write a lot of stuff with The Absence. That's some of my most proud bass writing and sound sonically on an album. I did get to come up with a few cool parts for the Havok album that we did. Right. And all of the Soulfly stuff, like Max would have his riffs and whatever, but I would just play whatever I thought would fit. Really? In both Ritual and Totem. Yeah, so I've been pretty lucky, pretty blessed in my experience as a bassist on record to just kind of have the trust of the guys, the producer, the band, to kind of just do my own thing. Dude, so that's sick. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty cool, man. I like it. And then we're going to be writing some new CKY stuff too, and I've got a ton of riffs because I've been listening to the band since I was a kid. So it's like, oh, write some new stuff for CKY. And it's like, say less. I'm already on it.
All right. Since we were on CKY, so from your transition from Soulfly to CKY, how did that happen?
Unlike all of my other transitions joining bands, this one stands alone on itself. Okay. So remember I had spoken about how much the band meant to me as a kid. I used to travel. I would travel. I used to drive all the way from Tampa to Philadelphia to go see them if I needed to. Damn. My father's from Pennsylvania. He's from Philadelphia. Oh, okay. Okay. So I have a bunch of family up there, and it would be like we were actually up there visiting family where I met what would become a mutual friend of myself and Chad Ginsberg from CKY, a high school friend named Matt Citronbaum, and he's a jeweler. So he made all of the jewelry for the band. If you saw the MTV Cribs where Bam shows off the heartogram hood ornament on his Mercedes-Benz, he made that. Yeah. And that was all. Yeah. So he's like a metallurgist, and he does all sorts of stuff like that. And I met him at a Sam Ash at this mall called Franklin Mills Mall in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. And my parents had dropped me off there to go visit like my dad's grandma. It was like my great grandma who I'd never met. And they were like, you don't need to go. Let's just, hang out here. So they dropped me off at Franklin Mills Mall. There was a skate park, and right next to the skate park was Sam Ash. So I was like, I'm good all day. Like, I'll babysit myself, dude. Like, it gave me like $20 or whatever that you can buy some hot dogs at the food court.
Yeah.
And so I was in Sam Ash jamming, of all things, CKY. And my buddy Matt, he wasn't my buddy at the time, but Matt heard me, and he was like, this kid's playing CKY. And he comes like kind of nonchalant over to me like, hey, kid, what are you doing? I mean, the guy was at that time, he was probably like my age now, like 38 or 40. And I was probably like 15 or 14, 16 maybe. And I know I couldn't drive yet. I know that much.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, so you like that band? And I was like, I was probably wearing a CKY shirt and probably had CKY socks on, and I was playing CKY.
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay. And he kind of like, he was like, well, I know those dudes. Basically, he didn't say it like that, but over, he was picking my brain about playing bass mostly, and it ended up coming out in conversation. And then at that point, my parents had come back, and we were all kind of talking, and he was like, well, if you guys have some time, you come by my shop. I got a ton of stuff I think you would love to see. And so we went back. We followed him back to his place. He had like this cool shop that had all of this metalworking stuff. He had 5 times as many basses as I have on the wall. He had a whole hallway just with all of these basses, and like every kind of bass, like big stand-up bass, like all these super cool instruments, and all these. He had all these skateboards and stuff from BAM, and so I went there, and he like showed me all the jewelry, and he made me this killer care package of like, all this stuff. And I think this was 2006 maybe, or 5. Not even. No, it was 3. It's 2003. So I was like 15 years old. Yeah. Anyways, I would go, we became really good friends, and my obsession with the band got deeper and deeper. And then I would go up there and spend time with him and with my family, and stay for like a couple months at a time. And I would work with him, like shoveling snow up in Philly, because we don't have that in Florida. Yeah. And when golf would kind of like die down, I wasn't doing that. Then I would go up there and shovel snow and do all this hard work. Yeah. To make like $20, And so we ended up going over to Chad's house one time, and like I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Yeah. So like Chad was always super cool to me. He was always super cool to all the fans. Like CKY was a very fan friendly, like they loved their audience, and it was a lot of young kids like myself, and they were very like, fatherly figures to all of us. Right. And me especially, because I got to know them and I had like this inside thing. I was finding myself in situations like being at the House of Blues in Atlantic City on New Year's Eve, going into the dressing room at a CKY show and like drinking Crown Royal out of the bottle with the guys. I had no business being there, dude. And this was like, I was maybe 16 at the time, and like I snuck my way through in all these rock and roll situations. I remember that day specifically, it was like I learned, I think Chad or my buddy Matt were like, look, just walk, be confident, walk with us, don't get too far behind, walk like you own this place and that you belong in there. And I was like, okay. And as you know, that is in our business. Yeah. It's 101, Yep. So I learned that at a very young age and found myself in all these situations. So my passion for the band grew deeper, and also subsequently my passion for music. I was like hanging out with a band that was on tour, and I was going kind of like on tour with them. And I saw them in Jersey, or I saw them in Philly, or the first time I ever went to California out here, I flew out here with a friend because I was so obsessed with the band. Wow. After I had met them, a buddy of mine, his mother was like a travel agent, and I was like, CKY is playing in California, and my buddy's like, if you could get us into CKY for free in California, my mom will book the flights. And he did. And it was I saw him at school on a Monday, and by Friday we were skipping school on a flight to California to see CKY play at the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard. And I didn't have any plans. Like, he booked all the flights and everything, and I was just like, Jesus, I hope they remember me. All right. Because I had just come back from seeing all of them in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Sure enough, me and 2 of my buddies, the one that I flew with, another one that we met out there, walking up to the Roxy, and I see their tour manager, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" Keep in mind, I'm 16. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I don't have the beard. I don't have
Yeah.
none of this stuff going on.
Right.
And he's like, he recognized me, and he was like, weren't you just in Philly? And I was like, yeah, but I told him a whole story, and he was like, so what are you doing? You guys want to come to the show? And I was like, of course, that's why we're here. We flew here to see the show. And he was like, well, do you have tickets? And I was like, no. And I had like, maybe the three of us probably had $100 for the weekend
Yeah.
to survive, and he was just like, yep, got you. All access credentials. First time I ever got an all access pass. They walked in, said hi to the guys. We had a great time, like watching CKY on the Sunset Strip at the Roxy, right
Yeah.
next to the Rainbow Room and everything. It was
Yeah.
just so yeah, long story, but those guys were pivotal in my growth as a musician, my yearning to become a musician. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for them, I would have been like an architect or cutting grass somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so flash forward to last year, I had been in touch with Chad this whole time. Anytime, through the Havok thing, anytime I was in a press release of some kind, like on the PRP or, what do you call that? Blabbermouth or anything, any kind of press, anything was happening with me, and he'd see my photo. He would text me like, hey man, I see you on, making moves. Congratulations. I got my bass. He's like, congrats, dude. That's huge, man. I'm so proud of you. And he's like, Uncle Chad, the whole time.
Yeah.
And, anytime they're coming in town, I went to go see him at the Warped Tour, or I'd go see him here and there, wherever. Still and always a huge fan. So when the time came and my wife and I moved out here, and I was just looking for a big change, and I knew that my time with Soulfly had kind of come to an end.
Yeah.
We made the, plan. Gloria and I were like, all right, well, we're just going to go separate ways. It wasn't public at the time. That actually happened in January, and it wasn't until around April where we made the announcement.
Oh, wow.
And when the press release went out, I think it was about it was like a day or two. Chad saw the news and immediately slid into my DMs on Instagram and was like, yo, I saw that you're not playing in Soulfly anymore. What are you doing? Because we need a bass player. And I was like,
wow.
are you kidding me? Like, I kind of, at the time, you can ask my wife, like, we had just moved out here. I wanted to change. I had started, I've been working with the company that I work for called 𝐏𝐚𝐫𝐭 𝐾ases, doing the artist relations stuff. We could talk about that.
Yes, we will. We will.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't even know if I want to play music anymore. I kind of just want to take a break. We had been touring so much, and I was like, we just moved out here to LA. Like, let's enjoy it. Let's kind of get, our roots kind of sunk in a little bit and establish ourselves here. And I was like, I think I'm only going to do something if it's really worth doing, or it's something that I absolutely love, and it's an opportunity I can't say no to. And so Chad hits me up, and he asks if I want to play bass in CKY, and the 16-year-old in me all the way to the 38-year-old me was like, yes, all at once.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yeah, it was like, okay, that checks off all the boxes. Like,
Right.
yep, something I want to do. Yep, something that I've always dreamed of. Yeah, something that makes sense. And it's like, they don't tour that often. Everything we do in CKY is kind of like a more selective, and it's really cool like that. Like, we're playing Sonic Temple, with you guys. We'll do like a little bit of a run around that. We're about to go to Australia on Monday, and do some stuff. So it's like a little, a lot less touring, but potent stuff. And that kind of falls in line with me, because I'm getting a little bit older, and nobody has time to go on tour for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Anymore. That's that's a young man's game. And
It is.
Those days are behind me. I know you know. So yeah, that's how it happened, and I couldn't be happier, because the guys, Jess and Chad, they were there from the beginning of all this, and they've seen me since I was a little kid too. So they got like hella respect, the mutual respect, at least. I don't. It's not like a hired gun vibe. It's like a team member. Which is really killer, because I've got all these tools, I've got all this knowledge, all these connections, and they put me to work, dude. They put me to work. I'm doing a lot of publications. I'm doing merch designs and stuff like that, booking
Dang.
shows, just like boots on the ground, but like it's fun, dude. I love it,
Right.
and it's for the band that started it all for me, dude. So
Yeah.
playing these songs is like an out of body experience every day.
So speaking of these songs that made you have goosebumps every time listening to them, what are like your two favorite songs to play live with them?
For CKY,
Yeah.
that's a super easy one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. So there's
okay.
this anything off the record, Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild. For
Yeah.
me, that was like an incredible album. Like it just hit right at the right time for me. I was the right age. It was just my soundtrack for my whole life, dude. Whether I was
Mm,
driving around or skating around or working, it was just constant, 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 constant. I just tortured my parents with that record,
yeah.
like straight up. And so from that album, there is a song that either two songs, it's either Sink into the Underground or
Uh,
Attached at the Hip. For me, like anytime we're playing that, those are like the pinch me moments when I'm on stage, like, oh my God, this is so sick. And then the other one would be, of course, 96 Quite Bitter Beings.
yes. Yeah.
Da-na-na-da. Like, how many
Yeah.
times I heard
Yeah.
that song in my life, and the
Yeah.
first time going on stage and playing it with them at Warped Tour was like I left my body.
How
Uh,
how
you
how
know what I'm
was
saying?
that, man? Hey, did you know that we have a website, Talk Music Podcast with Will Dorsey Jr.? We got all kinds of stuff on there, man. Check it out. Got some cool swag on there, like a sweatshirt or a hoodie or a coffee mug. Man, if you can just go on there and just check it out and see what you think, um, man, it would help me out, you know. But yeah, check out the gear. Hope you like it and support Talk Music Podcast with Will Dorsey Jr. Thanks. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Will Dorsey Jr. of Talk Music Podcast. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, that little red button on there. Just hit it. That will help me out tremendously. If you can also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, that will also help me. And if you wanted to download our podcast on Apple or Google or Amazon or even Spotify, you can check us out on there. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, 𝐼𝐸 Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their 𝐼𝐸 sessions on social media. Visit ERS on 𝐼𝐸studio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.